So, a word about lung function test or pulmonary function testing. So, essentially, when you get to a lung function test, you do a more modern version of this old drawing from Netter, but the principle is the same. We have you breathe in a tube, and you breathing through this tube will result in some changes of other tubes that then lead to a recording of lung volumes. So essentially, we have you breathe in and out of a tube, and we get a recording of that. And these lung function test does several things. It gives us numbers about the various volumes of the lung, how much you can breathe in and out, how much air is in your lungs, how much air is in your chest, and that can tell us about lung tissue loss as well as respiratory muscle weakness. We can measure your airflow, how much you can breathe in and out in a certain time frame, and that gives us an indication of whether there is any airway obstruction. And it allows us to tell us where that airway obstruction is. Is it the small airways or is it the large airways? We can have you do a maneuver that's called bugle pressures, where we essentially measure how much pressure you're able to generate breathing in and how much pressure you're able to generate breathing out. And this is a marker for how strong your respiratory muscles are. Now, we also get numbers about your oxygen saturation and whether it is adequate or reduced at rest or with exertion. And that tells us whether you may need any oxygen supplementation, either at rest or not at rest, but with exertion. And then finally, we get a number that's referred to as the diffusing capacity, which is a measure of the gas exchange, how well the oxygen can travel from the airspace into the bloodstream. And that tells us something about the lung tissue, but also something about the lung vessels.